On April 6, 1990, Daniel Rios, a member of the 18th Street Gang, was drunk and standing on his block with a 40 ounce in hand and a Primo on the other, who was a joint laced with cocaine. When other cars would pass by, he would aggressively throw up his hood and shout out the other riders. He did this several times throughout the night, but no cars confronted him. But one car that stopped would completely change the course of the night for Rios, because in that car was Williams and Mora, a known PlayBoys Surenos, a gang known for being some of 18th Street's top rivals at the time. By the end of the night, Rios was beaten up twice, tortured, and burnt, almost beyond recognition, sadly before dying from his burns. It's a lot more to this story. We're about to address it all and a lot more as we get into who are the Playboy 13s. Starting off as a card club, the PlayBoys Surenos grew to be one of the most known and notorious gangs in Los Angeles and have several insane stories that these guys are known for. But they also have a rich history in the city and a deep attachment to it because of that. But before we get into all that, let me get a like and subscribe if we start off your day getting some money. Yeah. All right. Welcome to Cali's Most Dangerous. Let's get into it. On April 6, 1990, Moore attended a party with other Playboy members. After being at the party for a while, he got tired and decided to head home. While he was driving back, Moore heard a man yell, 18th Street. So Moore gave him the finger. The man responded by throwing a bottle at Moore's car. Moore, who was an older member of the Playboy 13, went back to his neighborhood and got some youngsters. Back at the neighborhood, Moore stated what happened, and Martinez and Notorious Sanchez got into Moore's car and went back to the location where they saw Rios. Martinez, who was still angry about the shooting of his girlfriend on the previous night, was eager to find Rios. When he located Rios, Martinez immediately got out of the car, ran towards Rios, and struck him in the face, followed by a beating. Moore pulled him off of Rios and left him on the scene and went back to the Playboys neighborhood. They told the 15 to 18 people left at the party what had happened. So another Playboy member suggested that they should return and bring the man back to the alley. After that, Martinez drove himself and 4 other members, including Moore, to the area where they seen Rios, and Moore pointed them out. Rios, who had an 18th Street tattoo on his shoulder, appeared to be drunk. There were still bruises on his face, and he looked like he had been in a fight. Moore lured Rios into Martinez's truck by telling Rios that he was an 18th Streeter and that he would take Rios home. However, they drove back to the party area. There were still approximately 15 to 18 gang members still there. Moore then identified himself to Rios as a Playboy, then struck Rios in the face, knocking him to the ground. About 15 other members who were present began beating and kicking the fallen Rios in the head, torso, and the face. In addition to that, a Playboy member who had been hitting, kicking, and jumping on Rios took a bottle and smashed it over Rios' face. He then picked up a pointed wooden stick and pushed it into Rios' ear. Rios was bleeding profusely from his face and his ear. The assault lasted more than 15 minutes. When the beating stopped, some of the Playboys ran away, leaving Rios in the alley. Moore and 3 other Playboy gang members and an identified female then drug Rios down the alley and put him in a near dumpster. Someone stuck paper between Rios' legs, then some of the women sprayed Rios with hairspray. Some of the men doused him with gasoline as well. Julius Fumes, another Playboy member, got a cigarette lighter from Moore's car and returned with the 3 others. Fumes went down the alley where Rios was lying. A few moments after that, there was smoke coming from the alley, and when the men returned, they said they had set Rios on fire. After the gang members moved away from Rios, one of them returned. He poured something on Rios that made the fire flare up, and one of the gang members' shoes caught fire because of this. The doctor stated, had Rios lived, he may have suffered from permanent deformities, in addition to chondritis, a chronic infection of the cartilage which recurred throughout his lifetime. Several of Rios' teeth were broken, the right side of his scalp and his neck suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns. There were lacerations to his lower lip and to the portion of the tongue where it attached to the mouth. The tongue itself was markedly swollen. He had inhaled toxic and hot gases which damaged his lungs and bronchial tubes. He had 3rd degree burns on over 45% of his body and 2nd degree burns on over 13% of his body as well. located principally on his legs, back, right arm, and his face. The severity of the burns was so bad that at least one of Rio's legs would have to be amputated, or he would have severe reduction to that function if he had lived. His kidney function was severely damaged as well. He was placed on dialysis to purge the blood of toxins. A CAT scan showed swelling and bleeding in the wall of his abdominal cavity. And unfortunately, Rios died on April 11, 1990. Moore was later arrested for the murder of Rios, and during the trial, Moore testified that he joined the PlayBoys in 1970 or 80. Moore also testified that the Playboy 13s and 18th Street were rivals and the rival gang members would shoot at each other often. The rivalry lasted at least 10 years, and people were killed and shot at for the last 10 years, he said. He also said that Rios was in the Playboys territory, and Moore was first to hit him. After Moore hit him, 10 and 13 other Playboy members joined in beating Rios. Moore saw Rios on fire, but said he did not light the fire. Moore did not assist Rio, but claimed he had called 911. Moore testified that he had not intended to kill Rios and did not think Rios would be killed. Moore also denied joking and laughing after seeing Rios on fire. Moore did not feel bad about Rios, but he also did not feel good about the fact that his fellow gang members set Rios on fire. In the end, due to his testimony, forensics evidence, and statements from several witnesses, Moore was found guilty of the murder and sentenced to life in prison. Yeah, the Playboys and 18th Street have a long history of going back and forth with each other, and we'll definitely address it all and much more. But first, let's get into who these vatos are.
PBS! Oh, not that way, nigga. You went the wrong way, nigga. Oh, slow down, slow the down, nigga.
Danger rating of the PlayBoys Surenos. The PlayBoys Surenos received a danger rating of a 9.2 out of 10 based off of the gang's long history of crimes in Los Angeles and beyond. Yeah, murders, robberies, setups, gang wars. Shit, I can keep going, but hopefully you guys get the point. These guys are ruthless when it comes to their rivals and ready for action anytime. Yeah, the Playboys don't play, boy. If it's war with them, you just better pray, boy. Bars, nigga. Y'all heard one story, and it's a lot more situations that we'll address to justify this score. But that's just my opinion. Would y'all went higher or lower? Y'all let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Also, give me some reasons on why. Also, you guys got any crazy stories about these guys? Any close calls? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation about that as well. Who are the PlayBoys Surenos?
A Playboy, that's a bunny. That's our our mascot or trademark. Because before it was a gang, it was a club, you know, for Playboys only. And then it came into a gang. It's still our trademark. 187, 24/7. What's up, man? Because I'm ready to kill any fucking time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The Playboy 13s, also known as the PlayBoys Surenos, are a gang located in South Central Los Angeles, California. They're predominantly a Hispanic gang, but they're widely known to put on a lot of other races. Yeah, it's been whites from the set, Salvadorians, a lot of blacks from the sets as well. The PlayBoys Surenos are composed of several cliques which make up the gang.
We got Chicos Locos, that means, you know, the crazy kids.
Crazy boys?
Yeah, crazy boys. That's, you know, me and him and some other, but he's from Bunny Gangsters. That's another little clique, a little lame little clique. But he's still my, I don't usually hang around with him because I don't like them, you know, but he's my dog. That's my, you know, my partner in crime.
A few of them include 35th Street, 42nd Street Locos, 43rd, 46th Street Locos, 49th, 51st Street Locos, 56th Locos, Chicos Locos, also known as CLS, Malos, MLS, and the Dukes. And that's just a couple of cliques. The Playboys are among one of the biggest and first Latino gangs to form in Los Angeles. They're geographically located on the east side of South Central Los Angeles, from west of Main Street to approximately east of Latham Avenue, between north of Vernon Avenue, and approximately south of 54th Street. Directly to the east are the Barrio Mojados, also known as BMS. To the north are the Vernon Hood Locos and 43rd Street. And to the south are the 55th Bunch, and to the west are the Barrio 50th Street. Yeah, up and down those blocks, even the cops are known to skip a few stops in order to avoid getting dropped. That's because these niggas are known for a lot. Yeah, if you see that Playboy Bunny logo, just know he's a rapper gang member and he's probably on go. Bars, nigga. Playboy Bunny's logo is a gang symbol, and we'll get into why this played out as we address history, which they have a lot of. Throughout the years, their activities range from gang wars, drug trafficking, assault, robbery, extortion, arms dealing, theft, murder, racketeering, illegal immigration, illegal gambling, and fraud. This gang is known for all that and much more. And with over 12,000 members, it doesn't look like these vatos are going to be slowing down anytime soon. This is why this gang has had several gang injunctions and indictments placed on the gang.
News out of downtown Los Angeles, authorities arrest 28 gang members and associates of the South LA-based East Side Playboys. The multi-agency task force included personnel from the FBI, ATF, and LAPD. Officers serving search and arrest warrants throughout the LA area overnight. The operation stems from 6 grand jury indictments, one of which alleges a racketeering scheme and includes allegations of narcotics and weapons trafficking, as well as the extortion of local businesses. Meanwhile,
on August 18, 2022, in a gang injunction deemed Operation Down the Rabbit Hole, FBI agents and the Los Angeles police joined other law enforcement agencies in a pre-dawn gang sweep, arresting 28 members of the East Side Playboy gang as a part of a racketeering, narcotics, and firearms cases that named about 40 of the gang's leading members. The indictment set out that the Playboys used the U.S. Post Office, U.S. Parcel Service, and FedEx to distribute kilos of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, which were partly responsible for the deadly fentanyl-laced pills that flooded the Los Angeles markets in Southern California.
It's the largest seizure of fentanyl pills ever made in California. 1 million pills containing the deadly substance found in Inglewood in what the DEA says was a stash house guarded by managers responsible for distributing them to local dealers. The estimated street value as much as $20 million.
Investigators also gathered evidence of extortion of businesses, violent robberies, burglaries, narcotics and firearms trafficking, and violence against their own members as discipline for violating the gang's rules and norms. To go more in depth, the RICO indictment alleged that members operated 2 unlicensed marijuana dispensaries using the gang's drug supplies. It also sets out that 4 of the defendants in March of 2020 participated in the home invasion and robbery of a Woodland Hills marijuana dealer's home. One of the participants said they tied up the dealer and stole $50,000 in cash and about 10 pounds of marijuana. The invasion didn't go as planned though, as the victim, during a gun battle with the robbers, shot one of them in the stomach. Other conversations captured by federal agents included one where a defendant described participating in an attempted murder of a Playboy member who was stabbed in the head and body multiple times for betraying the gang. Alicio Luna was identified as the overall shot caller for the gang. Luna, also known as Chilo, Crazy, Taka, and El Abogado, is accused of overseeing the Playboy's drug trafficking activities, giving orders to his leadership and members, and authorizing the assault and murder of members in bad standing with the Playboys. The task force seized 47 firearms, 199 kilograms of methamphetamine, 13.6 kilograms of fentanyl, 27 kilograms of cocaine, 7.6 kilograms of heroin, and 283 kilograms of marijuana, and $140,000 in cash. And this is only one of many indictments placed on the gang, mostly because from the Playboys Foundation, they have a long history of getting money by any means necessary and been 100% with all activities.
Hey, don't get that, man. Don't get that. I'm ready to win. What's the deal?
History of the PlayBoys Surenos. The history of the PlayBoys Surenos can be traced all the way back to the 1950s. This gang, they started off as a car club, with their stronghold being near Fedora Street and Pico Boulevard, near Normandy Avenue, with the west side of South Central being the original barrio of the Playboy 13s. And from the jump, they were family-oriented, moved as one, and started traditions that are still carried on to today. The street gang established an early tradition of using the name Conejos or Rabbit to refer to the street gang, which referred to the Playboy Bunny logo adapted by the Playboys gang. This is despite the Playboys gang name being much older than the Playboy magazine. The oldie song Playboy by the Marvelettes was also favored very early on the Playboys gang history and often played and requested by older members of the gang. In addition to the PlayBoys gang culture, like the culture of most other gangs in Southern California, it's mostly rooted in heavy territory commitment, family ties, and a sense of brotherhood and belonging. The PlayBoys gang carry a strong pride in fiercely defending its ethnic communities from perceived threats and also extreme sense of cultural identity that the gang's members are usually indoctrinated in from a young age.
I didn't touch anybody. I didn't touch anybody. I'm coming preaching this shit straight up. Or what? To me, know what's the deal? We could do something. We're popping. Or what? Put your badge down there. We can get in. Don't.
By the 1980s, the Playboy 13s had grown to the point where they had gangs all over Los Angeles. It even spread beyond, having subsets in cities throughout Los Angeles and Orange counties, such as Bell Gardens, Southgate, Garden Grove, and Burbank. The quick spread mostly came from how the PlayBoys Surenos operated as a gang. Despite their deeply rooted pride in being a Chicano gang, they aren't like most other Sureño gangs. The PlayBoys, for the most part, consider themselves renegade Sureños. This is seen in how avidly they recruit from African American, Asian, and white American communities, despite constant demands from the Mexican mafia asking for such things to stop. Also, because of their renegade type of ways of movement, they have more than a few enemies they are known to go to war with. In fact, it's been recent rumors that the PlayBoys are starting to detach away from the Sureño brand as a whole. Because of this, the Mexican mafia has alleged to have put a green light out on the gang. The PlayBoys are ultimately choosing to move as an independent gang because of this, but it's all rumors from what I've heard. Is there any PlayBoys Sureños or anyone tapped into the streets? Let me know in the comments. Are the PlayBoys Sureños still Sureños? Or is there any smoke or friction between the La M and the PlayBoys? Aside from the alleged green light placed on by the Mexican Mafia, the PlayBoys have more than a few enemies they are known to go to war with. Rivals of the Playboy 13s.
Show me where you got shot, kid.
I ain't gonna lift my t-shirt up again, alright?
Okay, just once. Show him just once.
No, que la mira acá. Ponle para abajo, güey. Look.
How did that happen?
She was walking with another homeboy. They started shooting, you know. And you know, when you're moving from a car, shooting, you know, bullets could hit anywhere or anybody.
The Playboy 13s don't have a lot of allies. The Playboys are allies of the Down as Fuck gangs, the Cornelis 13s, the Wild Boys, the Broadway Gangsta Crips, and the Avalon Gangsta Crips. When it comes to rivals though, that list is long. Even though the Playboy 13s are Sureño members, they are still rivals of a lot of gangs that fall under this brand. They beef for 18th Street, MS 13s, they also go at it with the Valencia 13s, 38th Street, and they also go at it with smaller gangs like the 55 Bunch, the Hangout Boys, 41st Street Gang, and the Mexican Clan 13. And they're also known to go at it with a gang called the Addicted to Crime Gang, also known as ATC. And it's been a few bodies dropped on both sides. Yeah, these guys hate each other, and it's pretty much war whenever they run into each other. And two ATC members found us out the hard way. On the afternoon of April 1st, 2016, Nelson Belterton and Oscar M were standing on 39th Street in Los Angeles, California, with a woman named Anika Trapp. Belterton and Oscar were members of ATC, and the area where they were standing on 39th Street was within the territory of ATC, and near a house used as the hangout by the gang members. While the group was talking amongst each other, a blue sedan drives up and stops right in front of them. A man later identified as Jose Reyes, a known Playboy member, got out of the sedan and without any words began firing shots at Oscar and Belterton. 3 bullets hit Belterton in his upper chest, right thigh, and his left forearm, and he fell to the ground. Oscar started running, and he too was hit by 3 bullets, 2 to his lower leg and 1 to his upper right leg. Both of the men survived and Trapp was not injured. Los Angeles Police Department officers apprehended Reyes a few days after the shooting. In a search of a garage at the residence where Reyes was found, police recovered a silver handgun that subsequent forensic tests showed that the firearm was used to shoot Belterton and Oscar. Police also found small amounts of methamphetamine and cocaine, papers that had writings or symbols referring to the Playboys and Lil Tech, which police understood to be a gang moniker. Police also observed Playboys graffitis on the walls in the alley just outside the residence. In addition to the drugs, handgun, and paperwork with the gang references, police found a cell phone used by Reyes that they later searched. The hotspot password for the phone was Playboys. A text message sent from the phone about an hour after the shooting of Belterton and Oscar said, "Call 2 versions on PS." Photos extracted from the phone included screenshots of an LA Daily News article reporting the shooting of Belterton and Oscar, with the headline reading, "2 wounded in South LA gang-related shooting." Photos of Reyes making what appear to be gang signs and graffiti featuring the letters PBS and Playboys for life. In the end, due to substantial evidence and testimonies from witnesses and officers, the court trial sentenced Reyes to 25 years to life for the attempted murder of Belterton and sentenced him to another 25 years to life for the attempted murder of Oscar, with both counts running concurrently. Yeah, ATC is just one of many gangs that the Playboys are known to go to war with. The Playboy 13s are known to go at it with all the previous mentioned gangs, but they're also known to go out with smaller gangs like the West Side Drifters. Beef with the West Side Drifters. The beef with the Playboys and the Drifters are based off the locations of the two gangs. The Drifters are a predominantly Hispanic gang located in the border region between West and Central LA sections of Los Angeles on Pico Boulevard. Because of their location and how territorial both gangs are, it was always fights and tit-for-tat shootouts between them. So it's definitely on site when they see each other. Sadly, Angel Mendoza Batista became a casualty of this war. On the evening of August 31st, 2007, sometime between 10 and 11 p.m., Abdon Solis and Batista were waiting outside the Best Buy market on Pico Boulevard while Abdon's father, George Salas, was inside buying beer. While they were waiting, a Latino man with tattoos on his neck and wearing a black baseball cap approached. He asked Batista, "Where you from?" And Batista replied, "Drifters." After that, the man immediately threw a punch at him, so Batista returned the blow, and the two men began to fight. When Batista appeared to get the better of his opponent, another man got out of the driver's side of a nearby vehicle. The second man wore black clothing and a black ski mask and was holding a shotgun. I've been observed that both car doors had been open at the time, but he could not tell whether there are other people in the car. The second man approached Batista within about 9 feet of him and then fired the shotgun. Abdon turned and ran into the store. One of the Best Buy market employees was working at one of the registers near the entrance of the market when she heard 2 or 3 gunshots, looked outside and saw a van parked right in front of the store, and heard a young man scream that someone had been killed. After calling police, she went outside where she saw the headless victim with a lot of blood on the ground. She also saw a black SUV leaving at a high rate of speed. Officers investigating the area found a blue Ford SUV that had crashed into a wall in an alley near the Best Buy market. They found no one inside, but observed that the keys were in the ignition and the airbags had been deployed. A more thorough search of the car revealed, amongst other things, a cell phone on the center console, 2 black baseball caps in the front passenger floorboard, and a social security card and the name of Pedro Benella in the dashboard compartment. Blood was found on the airbags, most of it on the driver's side, as well as on the cracked rearview mirror recovered on the door sill, the driver's side, the back seat, the front passenger floor door, the exterior of the left passenger rear door, and the right rear armrest. LAPD officer George Diego, an officer on the scene after the shooting, recognized the Ford Explorer from a traffic stop he conducted a month earlier in the area of 15th Street and either Mariposa or Kenmore Avenue, inside the territory of the Playboys gang. Santos Martinez, a member of that gang, was driving the SUV at the time of the shooting. Martinez gave his name as Pedro Benella and produced a driver's license in that name. Officer Diego still had a copy of the ticket that he had gave to Martinez and passed that information on to other officers. Investigators found 2 Schoenbeck shotgun shells near Batista's body. A part of a shotgun shell and slug fragments were also found near the body. The medical examiner recovered shotgun fragments from inside Batista's body when he performed the autopsy. He concluded that Batista died of multiple gunshot wounds. He was struck 3 separate times, one in the upper back, one in the lower back, and a third to the head. The shooter was within 3 to 4 feet when he inflicted one of the back wounds, and very close when he inflicted the head wound. The shotgun barrel touched or nearly touched the victim's head when the shotgun was fired. Each of the back wounds had been fatal, and it was apparent that the head wound was the last to be inflicted. It was also inferred that the direction of the scattering of the victim's brain matter is that his head was supported by the ground. Thus, Batista was already incapacitated by the back wounds and landed on the ground. 1 month after the shooting, a shotgun was found by residents in their garage on Magnolia Avenue, about a quarter mile from the Best Buy market. They called the police and LAPD came and collected the gun. When officers examined the gun, they found a spent 12-gauge Skonebeck shell inside. One of the officers testified that in her experience, most shootings were done by handguns. Shotgun shootings were rare. The shotgun was later inadvertently destroyed, but not before it was swapped for DNA. The DNA was extracted from the headbands of the 2 baseball caps and the blood found in the SUV, as well as from the recovered shotgun. Martinez's DNA matched that on one of the caps, and Gutierrez matched that found on the other cap. DNA extracted from the blood found on the airbags, the rear windowsill, and the broken rearview mirror had matched Martinez's DNA. The DNA extracted from the back seat matched Gutierrez's DNA, and the analysis from the DNA extracted from the caps showed that Gutierrez and Martinez were major contributors to the respective caps. Martinez proved difficult to locate, but he was finally taken into custody on April 30th in 2009. He was charged with an unrelated crime and interviewed by detectives. Martinez told detectives that he had been aware that the police were looking for him since the day after his car had been stolen. In his defense, Martinez claimed that he was on Pico Boulevard and Fedora Street when members of a different gang pulled up to him in a white van, got out armed with bats, beat him, and took his car. Martinez admitted that he had never reported the car theft or the beating, but none of that mattered because detectives placed Martinez in a jail cell equipped with a recording device. Excerpts of the recording conversation were played for the jury. Martinez told a cellmate that he knew who was fighting the murder case, and that the police had obtained his DNA in his car when he crashed it and bled. He explained, "That same day I did that job I had to pull, fool, the cops were following me. So I crashed my car, fool, but I was able to get the out of there. But I left blood in the car, and they just caught me." Someone asked where he was from, and Martinez replied that he was from the PlayBoys on Pico Boulevard and Vermont Avenue. Martinez said the police did not have the gun, and added, "That's why I told the detectives, no way, they fucked me over. Some guys took my car, and I didn't know what the they did. And they didn't believe me, fool." And he says, "What do you mean they stole it from you if we found blood in your car?" So I said, "Well, I don't know, because these guys, they beat me up. Maybe that's why there's some blood left in the car," I said. "The detectives don't believe me though, fool." In addition to the recorded evidence, officers were aware that Reyes had been served with a gang injunction and had prior contacts with Gutierrez, during which Reyes admitted to being a member of the PlayBoys gang with the moniker Blanco. One such prior contact was of Gutierrez's home on Federa Avenue, where officers saw his tattoos: 3 dots under his right eye, a Playboy bunny under his right hand, and the name of the gang on his stomach. The officer knew Gutierrez to be a member of CALI'S, or the Chicos Locos clique, which is a subset of the PlayBoys 13 gang. Detectives also took photographs of the cell phone in Martinez's SUV after the shooting. He showed the jury the writings of the cell phone. Some of the stuff included Los Angeles with the backwards N and the number 5150 on it, a Playboy smoking a stogie or a cigarette, and the letters DKS signifying Dukes. Another officer gave his opinion that the following hypothetical facts would describe an activity that would benefit a gang. 2 or more gang members from PlayBoys went into the territory for the drifters, and one of the occupants of the car had a shotgun and a ski mask going into a rival gang territory. One of the occupants of the car get out and said to the young man, "Where you from?" And the young man responds, "Drifters," and a fist fight ensues, in which the Drifters gang member was winning the fist fight. Another occupant of the car got out with the shotgun and shoots and kills the Drifters gang member. He explained that going on a mission to challenge a gang member in his territory, particularly armed with a very visible weapon such as a shotgun, and then killing a rival to prevent him from winning the fight, would demonstrate to the rival gang and the community that the Playboy gang was incredibly bold and to be feared. This enhanced reputation would benefit the gang by enabling its members to get away with committing more crimes. The shooter will also elevate his status within the gang by showing his willingness to commit murder and protect his fellow gang member. The officer also testified that violence would be the expected result of the gang on a mission on a rival gang territory. Gang members expect rivals to defend their territory from those who enter it to commit crimes. In the end, due to forensic evidence, the recorded cell conversation, and witness and officer testimonies, on September 6, 2013, the trial court sentenced Gutierrez and his co-defendant Martinez to life in prison with a minimum parole eligibility period of 25 years, which was doubled to 50 years under the 3 strikes law, plus an additional 25 years to life for the firearm enhancement and 5 years for the serious felony convictions to be served first. Man, rest in peace to Angel. He was definitely a gang member, but nobody deserves to die like that. Gutierrez and Martinez are just two examples of members who have made the gang so feared. Let's get into some other prominent figures because trust me, it's a lot more. Prominent figures from the set. The Playboy 13s definitely have more than a few reputable members who have been putting the gang on the map. But doing my research, I found a list of members who are no longer with us. A few of them include Rudy, also known as Lil Bago, who passed on July 7th of 2013. Mauricio Jimenez, also known as Minor, who passed on August 14th of 2009. Also was Calvin Hastings, who is better known as the stage name Spanky, who was a Chicano rapper from Southgate Playboys, who was killed on Father's Day in 2016. I found some research to say he was the alleged foster brother of the gang. But yeah, either way, rest in peace to them. And y'all let me know if any members who are no longer with us, man. Let their lanes live on. Let their lanes live on. They also have more than a few members who have helped put the gang on the map. Alicio Luna, also known as Chilo, Crazy or Taka, was a big shot caller for the gang. They also have some rappers who have helped put the gang on the map musically. Some of them include Mr. Keep It Hood. Yeah, bro has been putting in work for the Playboys for a few years and he's definitely talented. Catchy hooks, and his freestyles is hard too. Y'all definitely gotta tap in. Let me know what y'all think. Next is Rich Rabbit. Yo, this nigga is definitely a storyteller. Real deep lyrics and his style is very unique. And he's been on a run of interviews lately, so I'm sure he's about to drop some new music. So y'all definitely be on the lookout for that. But he has a lot of other classics, so you guys definitely gotta go tap in on him. Y'all definitely got to. Look, if you wanted to get to know bruh and his music, go tap in with his interviews, man. He's a real dude. You can definitely get the vibe from when he's talking. Anyways, is there any of the rappers I'm leaving out? Y'all let me know in the comments, man. Let's get their music heard. Current state of the PlayBoys Surenos. The PlayBoys Surenos, they've been around since the 1950s, and they've been through several cultural changes and have also been the target of multiple gang injunctions, with the most recent one locking up a lot of prominent members in order to halt the gang's activities. But despite all that, these vatos are still one of the most active gangs in California. To this day, the Playboys are making headlines, and on top of that, this gang has expanded outside of Los Angeles. They've got to the point to where you can pretty much find them all over the state, but also beyond that as well. You can also find the Playboys in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Utah, Nebraska, Montana, Louisiana, Tennessee, and they've even gone international with them having cliques in Mexico and Australia. But y'all let me know if I'm leaving out your state, man. Rep for your state, or your country in that matter, your country too. Anyways, that's it for the Playboys Surenos. Y'all got any crazy stories about these guys? Any close calls? Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Y'all let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you woke up this morning and hustle. Y'all stay safe and dangerous out there.